There's a unit study in here somewhere. Hey everybody, it's Becky. I am back with a book haul for you guys. I have, for some reason, been getting a lot of books lately. I think part of it was when they had that coupon code on Amazon a couple weeks ago. It was like $10 off a book order of 35 or 25 or something like that. So I got quite a few books then. And then I've just been picking up a lot of books for my youngest daughter because she has really flourished in her reading. And so I've been trying to get books that she can read. And then we've got quite a few homeschool things as well that I wanted to share with you guys. So I will start with the homeschool stuff first. I mentioned before that we're going to be doing astronomy together as a group subject next school year. Next school year I will have a 2nd grader and an 8th grader. So I think with those age groups I'm going to be able to combine their science a lot more than I have in the past. And we've always used Apologia for science, but it's going to be astronomy next year. And so I went ahead and picked up the Exploring Creation with Astronomy textbook. And I picked up the Exploring Creation with Astronomy notebooking journal. This is for my oldest daughter. My youngest daughter, they do have a junior notebooking journal. And I looked at it online, and I think a lot of the words in there are still too challenging for a 2nd grader. So what I'm going to do is just figure out a way for my youngest daughter. You know, she'll listen in on the lesson that we read in the book, but then I'm going to have to find something else that she can do instead of the notebooking journal while my oldest daughter is using the notebooking journal. So I'm sure by having this as a guide, I will be able to figure out some things that she can do that are with the lesson, that are related to the lesson, that's not quite as involved. So I didn't purchase the junior notebooking journal for her for next year. But I'm excited to have that. We really enjoy Apologia, and I love astronomy, and I personally would like to learn more about it. So I'm excited to do that with them next year as a group subject. I also picked up an Analogies for Critical Thinking grade 6. I've had several of these each year for my oldest daughter, and like I said, she's going to be in 8th grade. But we started a couple years behind because I wasn't really sure what level she was going to need. And so far I don't find, even though it says grade 6, I don't think it's necessarily too easy. But I will keep going, and get her. She goes through probably 2 of these a year. So by the time this school year is over, she will be ready for grade 7. So really, it's not that far behind. Also, for my oldest daughter, I had to pick up the next level of her math program. We use teaching textbooks, and we have used teaching textbooks with her from the very beginning. And so she was ready for pre-algebra, which is what comes after grade 7, I think, for math. So after math 7 is pre-algebra. So I had to pick that up for her, and she really likes, I really like that she has this program to use because I am terrible at math and would not be able to teach her math. So having this program has really been awesome. Everything is on a disc. She watches the lecture from a disc and then does her work along, with the workbook. And then if she makes a mistake, it will go back and tell her how to do it correctly. So I love the math program. We plan to continue to use it as long as we're homeschooling, and as far up as she can go through the program. We definitely plan on using it for the long haul. So the next things that I got, I'm going to show you a little bit out of order, just because I did actually get these next ones from Scholastic to review, but I picked them out. It wasn't like they sent me these books and said, here, review these. I was able to pick out the books that I was interested in, or that my kids would be interested in, and then make a review for you guys, sharing my experience with them. So the first thing, I'm going to go ahead and review and get it out of the way. This is one of the ones that my oldest daughter picked out, and it is The Earth Dragons, The Wearle. It's a chapter book, hardback chapter book. And I just want to get this out of the way and say that I only have this book in my house right now for this video. As soon as I'm done making this video, I am recycling this book. I'm not even going to sell it in a yard sale or anything. I love Scholastic. We have loved Scholastic for years. I loved Scholastic when I was a kid. I always loved the book fairs. And I love everything else that I've gotten from them. This book I was highly disappointed in because it is extremely sacrilegious. As a Christian person, I am offended when anybody makes any reference to God or act like some other creature or being is God. And that's exactly what they do in this book. We didn't notice it at first. She was reading the book and she loved it, and I was super excited because she loved the storyline, she loved the characters. But if you go back and you read the prologue, which I don't know, she brought this to my attention. They tell like the beginning of story of these dragons, and the dragon is named Goddess, and it goes through and basically retells the first few chapters of Genesis as if it were a dragon. and how the dragon created everything. And I just found that extremely offensive. As I said, it's a shame, it's unnecessary, and I will be getting rid of this book as soon as I'm done editing this video. So that's my negative. Let's get that out of the way, because everything else I have to say is positive. I love Scholastic and I love the variety of books they offer. So the next few things I got from them, this one is for homeschooling, and it is the Rivers of Sunlight, How the Sun Moves Water Around the Earth. So I'm gonna love having this book on our bookshelf in our homeschool room all year long, but I especially was glad to have this one now because for my first graders science unit study we're doing in a couple weeks, we're gonna be studying the water cycle. And I thought this was a perfect book to have for that because that's exactly what it explains. And so it's gonna be really nice to have along with the activities we're gonna be doing, learning about the water cycle. And it's written from the perspective of the sun, and it explains like the water cycle and vapor and everything that you would need to know about the water cycle. Also from Scholastic, something we're going to be using with our homeschooling and my youngest daughter in particular, and they have a whole series of these what if you had a whatever. And this one is the what if you had an animal nose. And so they have all different ones. They have what if you had animal teeth, what if you had animal hair, animal feet, and animal ears. And so basically it puts it into a child's perspective of whatever the body part of the animal is. So in this case, the nose. And so it talks about like the elephant's trunk and a star-nosed mole. So if you had a nose like a mole. It's just a really fun and creative and funny book that I think kids are gonna love. And it's educational, but it's also something that I think she would like to read just at nighttime. So I love this book, and this set of books in this collection I think are really great and a creative way to teach different animal attributes to a child in a fun and colorful way. The next couple things are for my youngest daughter, and I wanted to find things that were of her interest, more things that she would enjoy about animals and different things like that, and that she could read and still challenge herself, and something that I could find her reading maybe when it wasn't school time, something she liked to read in bed at nighttime or in the morning when she wakes up. And so a lot of these books fit that category. 3 of these did come from Scholastic, and it is I have the level 2 reader, but this is A Visit to the Vet. So basically it just goes through and talks about the animals and how when they go to the vet, all these different things happen. They have their ears checked and x-rays, and how they treat animals that don't have teeth like birds. So all different types of interesting facts and pictures, and she loves stuff like this. Anything with animals she loves, so I'm excited for her to have that one in her collection. Also, and I'm really excited about these, are the Pet Charms books. They're a level 2 as well, but the neat thing about these books is they each come with a charm. So I have the Bunny Surprise and the Muddy Puppy. This one actually has the bracelet with it, because it's the first book, I guess, in the collection. And then when you get subsequent books in that series, they have other charms up in the top corner. So when they get the book, they not only get the book, but they get to add a charm to their bracelet. So I think it's a really cute idea, and I think she's gonna love that. And of course, it's about animals, so she's gonna be excited to have those. Those will probably end up in maybe her Easter basket. I haven't decided yet. The last thing from Scholastic, and my kids love books like this, and this is the Which is Worse? Crazy Questions to Ask Your Friends. That basically asks you all these gross and disgusting questions of which you would prefer. And sometimes we play this without a book, but I think it's really nice sometimes because you run out of ideas without a book. So it says, which is worse, kissing a poisonous frog or flossing a crocodile's teeth? Which is worse? Which is worse, taking a bath in frog eggs or a skunk spray shower? Let's see what else. I mean, some of them are really gross. Which is worse, being clogged up with a lot of snot or a lot of earwax? So it's just all these really disgusting questions that are really gross, but I think they're fun to think about, and we do it all the time. It's good for kids to do with their friends, and I think it's a funny thing for families to do together, and it's also a great thing to have in the car. So these next books I'm going to try to go through fairly quickly because I feel like this video is a million years long. These are all books that I picked up for my youngest daughter. Like I said, things that she can read that are in her interest, that she is interested in, that's going to encourage her to read but still challenge her. And so pretty much every single one of these I got just here in the last month or so at Amazon. So we have the pre-reader, which is a little too easy for her, but she loved it. It's the National Geographic Kids Jump Pup. It is way too easy for her, but she liked the cover. This is a level 3 National Geographic Kids Cats vs. Dogs. This one is the Berenstain Bears Do Not Fear, God is Near level 1. It's a little tiny bit easy for her, but we love Berenstain Bears, so I got that one. The level 2 Magic Sprinkles book, which is part of like the fairy series. I can't think of what it's called. Camilla the Cupcake Fairy. We have a couple of these books and she likes that. This was her choice, not mine. Step 2, level 2 book is the Dog Days. It's like a Life of Pets, Secret Life of Pets book, which is too easy for her, but she liked it. Level 3, Little Lucy. She loved this one. Level 3, Twinkie the Dinky Dog. It's really cute. Level 3, Little Lucy Goes to School. Level 3, Papunzel. So it goes through and tells like the story of Rapunzel from like a dog version. So it's kind of funny. Same concept. It's the same, like in the same group of books. It's the level 3 Doggerella. So it tells the story of Cinderella, but it's a dog. And the last one is level 3, Fox and Crow Are Not Friends. We haven't read that one yet. So I'm excited to have those for her. It's been really nice that she can read so much more now because it's so fun to like read books with her and go places and like she can read signs. So it's a really fun and exciting stage and level of her reading and I'm really excited about that. The next thing I got my youngest daughter, she does not know about yet. It's a Disney Princess How to Be a Princess book. It's a hardback book that basically goes through and talks about all the different princesses and their virtues and then suggests things that you can do to be like, to have those same virtues. So for Rapunzel, it talks about treating animals like a princess. Read about animals that interest you, offer to take care of the pets or your friends' pets, donate food and supplies to a local animal shelter, sit in a park and quietly watch animals work and play, learn about ways to protect endangered animals. So all these different princesses have all these different lists of virtues and ways that you can be more like that. And I think that ways that you can also have those virtues. And I think it's going to be a really fun book that maybe we might turn into like a lesson, like a unit study on manners and generosity and all those different things. So I thought it was a great idea to have this book. I'm just not quite sure yet if I'm going to give it to her as a gift or if I'm going to use it in school and we're going to like pick some of these virtues and some of these projects to do. I haven't decided yet. But I thought it was a really neat concept for any little girl, and I think she's gonna like that. Kind of along the same lines of virtues and manners and all that stuff, I picked up this from Amazon. It's 50 Things Every Young Lady Should Know, What to Do, What to Say, and How to Behave. I think this is gonna be a great book to have as reference, something we can go through together with both girls, and something that we can read more than once, you know, every couple years or so to really hone in on manners and being nice to others, being pleasant, how to greet somebody in conversation. So, you know, it talks about the do's and don'ts of how to talk on the phone, how to write a thank you note. So I'm kind of thinking maybe these two go together and maybe a young child's version and maybe an older child's version of some kind of a unit. There's a unit study in here somewhere and the homeschool mom in me is thinking, how can I combine these two to make a unit study? So the last thing I got is for my youngest daughter, but she's not quite ready for it yet, but I thought it was a really unique type of book. I went ahead and picked it up now. It's the Juggling Sea Search. And I've mentioned it before, she loves those books where those things where you have to find the hidden pictures. But this one's neat because you have the hidden picture over here on the left, but then over here it's a scrambled, so you unscramble the jumbles, one letter to each square to form the words. And then each of those words is hidden in this picture. So it's a hidden word book, but then it's also a word scramble. So I thought it was just a really unique book. And then once you have unscrambled all the words, you come down here and fill in the little dot, like the little shapes. And it's a mystery object, a bonus mystery object that can be found in the picture. So I thought it was a really unique concept and something that she's gonna like when she's a little bit better with spelling. I think she'll be able to unscramble those words and I think it'll be really fun for her. So those are all the books that I picked up for my kids here in the last couple weeks. So let me know if you like this video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.